In a world where plungers aren't what you think they are, and games take on totally different plots, this is Sick and Wired.
Welcome back, everybody, to Sick and Wired. It's been some time now, but we're going to change things up a little bit. So instead of doing news on here, we're planning a new podcast we're going to do on Entertainment Gaming Daily, a YouTube channel that we partner with. And we're going to start doing focusing more on news there. So check out Entertainment Gaming Daily on YouTube, and you'll get your 2 roundups per week for news, and also in the future an extra podcast dedicated solely to talking about the news more in depth. So be on the lookout for that. Today, I am joined with my friend Ethan.
Hello.
And what we're going to do, so we're going to skip news, and you guys can go to Entertainment Gaming Daily again to check that out. And we're just going to hop right into a sort of activity that I had an idea for that I really wanted us to try. And so basically what's going to happen is we have a program up here, and what'll happen is we'll click random, and we'll start off with where I've picked some games that I've played that I don't think he knows the premise of, or I don't think he knows what it's about, what you do in it. And he's picked some games that he's played that for me that I may not know about, and we haven't seen each other's lists, and we're gonna click a random game, and we're going to each try to describe, just based on the title, what that game is about.
What each other's games are?
Yeah,
Okay.
so I've got to describe what your game is, and you got to describe what's mine.
Okay.
And then later on, what we're going to do is we're just going to have a random word pop up, which we've each chosen a bunch of nouns. And what's going to happen is that noun is going to be preceded by the word the. And then we have to, are you already thinking of something you chose? And then we have to think of what the premise of that game is. So this is going to be fun. So we're just going to hop right into it here. Classic line. And so my random game is Welcome to the Game. So what's Welcome to the Game about, Ethan?
Welcome to the Game is a game where you turn the game on. It's a lot like this game we're playing right now. Frankly, that popped up and I thought it was just like a welcome thing. I didn't think that was an actual game. I thought that was part of the game we're playing right now. But Welcome to the Game is actually the prequel to Welcome to the Gungeon. But instead of it being
it's not called Welcome to the Gungeon. It's called Enter the Gungeon.
Hey! That's the game I like, and I forgot. Regardless, I no backspace. It's the prequel to Enter the Gungeon, and it's this guy, and he actually what was that movie called? Ready Player One.
Oh,
and he goes into a game. And that's his life now. And he's got to, save the game.
But what's the game?
Oh, gameplay?
Yeah, what's the game about,
That's what it's about. It's about the guy goes into the game and he has to save it from this evil.
But what game is he going? Now you've created another game that you have to describe because that's part of the plot.
It's like an MMO.
Like Grush.
It's like VR Grush.
All right, so do we want to tell each other what it's actually about?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so Welcome to the Game is a horror game. And what happens
about being stuck in the game.
Yeah. Actually, no. I'm surprised that it's called... I still don't understand... Well, I guess I do, but it kind of throws you off a little bit. So what happens is you're a guy and you are on the computer. And almost the entire game is just being on the computer.
Do you see, the guy on the computer?
Well, I mean, it's your classic, you're invisible. You're just a camera.
But you see the computer.
But you see a computer in front of you. And you're surfing the web, specifically the dark web.
So it's like a screen within a screen.
Yeah, so you're surfing the dark web. But then what happens is, as you surf and collect puzzles to try and get a URL to this video room where they torture people and stuff like that. I forget what they called it, but in order to get to that, you have to decipher puzzles on different web pages that are really f***ed up. And it's like cannibalism websites.
Another day.
Yeah. Another day in the cannibalism website.
On the cannibalism subreddit.
Yeah. This whole thing is just on subreddit. No, but it's but what happens is as you get more clues and go deeper into it, there are people that will come after you, and so there are little clues throughout your house because you can get up from the computer that tell you like, oh, someone's here. The window just opened for some reason, or that chair moved,
okay,
or I heard this sound, and so then you've got to go and turn off the lights and wait for like it to die down, and then you can go back to surfing, and it gets really hard. I've never completed it, but I've seen YouTube footage of it being completed. Good guess.
I was close. All right.
Random game for Ethan.
And the game is Oxenfree.
Oxenfree. Okay. So in this game, you're a farmer. You're a farmer. And what you're doing is you're going and you've got a bunch of oxen. Oxen.
Okay.
And your goal is to... Actually, you know what? Nope, we're not doing backspaces, huh? Okay, so you're a farmer, and you have to nurture the ox until they can run free.
Wow.
Oxen free. It's a simulation game. It's an open world simulation.
By Mark Twain.
But
is that your guess?
That's what it is. No, that's not a guess.
I'm reading the Wikipedia page right now. Well, I actually didn't know you knew about this game, but you actually pretty much got it perfect, except a couple things. So what the game is you play as this teenager, and she goes to an island with a bunch of other people to like party or whatever. And it ends up where this island's like haunted by these ghosts of these people from
Ghosts of
ship.
ox?
No, of people who are on a ship that was sunk. And they like teleport you around the island, and you got to do puzzles and stuff. And they like, trying to think of how to describe it without like spoiling it, I guess. And these ghosts are pretty much haunting you the whole time, and you're like, I don't know, and you got to like use a radio to get into their wavelengths to like communicate with them. There are a ton of different endings.
That's cool.
It was a good game. Dude, you were very close.
I was almost there. All right. Here's another one for you.
Okay.
Arma 3.
So Arma 3 is actually made by Nintendo, and it was one of their dyslexic people was trying to make a sequel to ARMS.
What?
But pressed A instead of S, and thought there were two of them because it was ARMS plural.
That's not how dyslexia works.
I don't know. Okay. So
no backspace.
No backspace. So it's the sequel to ARMS, but it's Arma, not arms. So there's only one arm. So all the characters in it have one arm, and they don't actually stretch either. It's a boxing game with one arm.
So you've got a bunch of people with
VR.
one arm running around a boxing ring. This sounds like a terrible like trafficking cartel. They traffic people,
This is what
cut
they
off
do to
an
their
arm.
traders.
Yeah. And the sequel is the third one.
Yeah, because dyslexia.
So Arma 3 is, I was really hoping you'd go in the direction of an arm. But so I'm glad you did. But Arma is a military shooter series.
Close with one arm.
And everyone has a single arm. Actually,
and another one.
Actually, everyone has the amount of arms that the game it is. So Arma 1, there was 1, and then 2, and now we've got 3.
Okay, of course.
No, so it's considered one of the more realistic shooters. I personally played Arma 3, and I didn't enjoy it very much, especially since like the entire game is like DLC the game. Mm-hmm. So like it's almost like you go in and you get a demo for the game as far as the campaign goes.
Okay.
And you get a demo for the game, and then you have to buy the rest of the game.
That's
individually, excellent. And I think it's really screwed up.
EA.
And I think in the end, people just enjoy the multiplayer more than anything, but that's not my kind of game. I was kind of
Yeah.
going for like a realistic military shooter because I was like, I'm sick of these Call of Duties and Battlefields and crap like that. I was like,
Anthem.
I want a military shooter. And so I picked up this game, and there are a lot of controls with it to remember, and it is really well thought out. But in the end, I didn't really enjoy it that much.
Okay.
But it's a military shooter. So that's that. All right, here's mine. Rivals of Aether. I gotta get the brain percolating.
Mm-hmm.
So Rivals of Aether. I do not know. Should I look? Can I look up what Aether is?
No.
I don't know what that is.
It's irrelevant.
Okay.
It's a made-up word.
Oh, okay. Because I've seen it before.
Yeah, it's a popular made-up word.
I think you could say that
I think
about
all
every
words
word.
are made-up words.
All words are popular made-up words. Quote.
Thank
Ethan.
you, Faulkner.
Thank you, Paul. So, Rivals of Aether is. Did you catch that all was just stalling?
Yes.
So, Rivals of Aether is a game that's all about how it's a survival game, and so what happens is you're Aether. You're this guy named Aether, and you have these magical abilities, and you get waves of rivals coming at you, trying to kill you because
It's a
they're your
tower
rivals.
defense game.
Yeah. No, it's like you're in the center, and like waves of
like
people come
balloons.
at you, and all the. And so you're sitting there, and all these different people have different things about them. Like one's a cyborg, and
That's one of your rivals.
That's one of your rivals. He was like, "I'm sick of Aether getting all the
ladies."
That's what they're rivaling over, ladies. So I'm sick of them getting all the ladies.
Getting Agnes.
So I'm going to become a cyborg. Then not only can I kill Aether, but then all the ladies will want me because I'm a cyborg. That's just one of the character backstories. I won't go into other ones.
You're not far.
But so yeah, it's a survival game, and in the end, you have to. I'm just gonna add this in. Why not? You have to revenge. You have to take vengeance for the death of your father.
All right. Well, I'm gonna start off. I'm not an expert on Rivals of Aether lore, such as yourself.
Oh, of course.
So I'm sorry if there are any Rivals of Aether fanatics. If I get any specific details wrong,
We forgive you.
But pretty much, it's a platform fighter. Think Smash, Brawlout, and it's based on Melee. So you're pretty close.
Oh, boy.
And it's basically like there are all these different fighters representing different elements and like regions almost.
Oh, Avatar.
Almost, actually.
Really?
And fun fact, DLC characters Shovel Knight and Ori from Ori and the Blind Forest. They're
Damn.
characters.
That's sick.
I know.
Did Donkey do a video on that?
I don't think so.
I feel like he should do a video on
should.
that.
But yeah.
All right.
I'm
ready for you. Random game.
This is the Police. This is the Police is a game where you play as police. The police.
And that's it. That was the end
And
of
what
the
you do
podcast.
is you have to it's a first person game, it's story driven. You have to play as an undercover cop who goes into a who like infiltrates a drug ring, a crime scene thing. And he finds out that one of the head honchos is his long lost brother. So he has the moral he has to make the moral decision. Do I help my brother and help him get away with this? Or do I help my passion of justice and try to bring him down?
And that's like the final decision in the game?
Yeah.
Spoilers.
I'm sorry.
Actually, what you described, I think, is more fun than the actual game. So this is the Police. Is sort of a story-driven simulation kind of game. And what happens is it's sort of like set up as a comic book. So instead of like these cutscenes, what you get is these like different pictures kind of laid out, and you get voiceovers of these guys. Really well done as far as the voice acting goes. But what happens is you're this guy, and you're the police chief in this town or whatever.
Crazy.
And so you are in charge of all of your police officers and deploying them to the different disturbances and stuff like that. But the problem is, you know what? This is great because this is what I love, because this is what the world likes to do. This is real life. Mm-hmm. If you don't do a good enough job, the city says, you know what? We're very unsatisfied with the police force, so we're going to take away one of your police slots, so you have one less.
So then you'll do a better
officer.
job.
So you'll do a better job next time. This is real world. I mean, that's not. That is what happens. It is commentary, and so, but so you're slated to retire very soon, but all of this crazy stuff starts to happen, like a bunch of a big mob war that you kind of have to be a part of and figure out, and eventually, so. You can, if you make the wrong decisions or lean too heavily to one side and don't pay enough attention to the other, you could get killed.
Jeez.
And you'd have to pretty much start all over, kind of. There are different saves where you can go back to different days, but at that point you're who knows where, how far back I screwed up. Sense. And so it's kind of hard to do that.
So you've never finished the game?
I have not.
Who's to say I'm wrong?
That's what it turns into. I actually have tried on multiple occasions to play the game, but ultimately I just get frustrated because
you're a scrub.
It's just really difficult. It's a really difficult game. They're always throwing more calls at you that you have to deploy
resource
people
management.
To. Yeah, they're always throwing more at you than you're even expected to be able to handle.
Sounds almost like an RTS.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, kind of. So they'll pop up, and then you have to click on them in X amount of time, and then you have to say, okay, I'll send these police officers over there to check on the situation. You get a description of what's happening and stuff like that.
It's like baby's first Pikmin.
Yeah. And the detective investigations are so irritating because you can't finish any of them. So what happens is you get this big bulletin board, and you have to kind of complete a storyboard almost of how the crime happened based on accounts and different pictures you get that could possibly fit in there based on the accounts, and you got to put all the right pictures in, and then if you do, then the investigation is completed. I think I have 14 archived investigations, because no matter how many detectives you put on a single one, they never give you all of the freaking things, and it's just so irritating. I hate that game.
I see.
Good game though. yours was a better game than what they said. I want to play your game. Make that game.
I will.
Mental note. Okay. Pedo Box. So what happened was. Pedo Box.
Do you want me to give you a little bit of a lingual hint?
You know what? I couldn't look up Aether. I couldn't figure that. I'm gonna go at this cold. The Pedo Box. So you.
Can I tell you a language?
Okay.
Spanish.
So, Pato Box. Okay. Pato Box.
Does that help you at all?
I have no idea what pato is. Potato? So, in Pedo Box, I like that better. In Pedo Box. Because again, this is the real game. It's not Spanish in my version. Okay.
In real life.
In Pedo Box, you play as an elf.
Why?
I don't know. It was the first thing that came to my mind. You play as an elf, of course. Mm-hmm. And what happens is you have to save the forest from being chopped down by humanity. And It's a commentary.
On
It's
boxes?
it's a political commentary.
A political
No,
commentary?
hold on. Okay, and what happens is you've got this best friend, right? And his name is Pato, and you're
Is
you're
he an elf?
yeah, of course. You would never mix races.
Of course not.
No.
Not in the
Not in
jungle.
this game.
Not in Pato
Not in
Box.
Pato Box. And so it's years behind. Many, like 4.
The game.
And so you got your friend Pato, and he's like, "Don't worry, man. We'll get through this together." And then the humans take Pato for experimentation because they've never seen an elf before. The humans don't know about the elves, and so they're like, "This is cool. Let's take him in for experimentation. We're going to take him to Area 61." Clearly a play on Area 41. From the original game. This is the sequel. This is the sequel to Pato Square. There's a whole new depth to this game.
This is actually the third game. The first was Pato Line.
Pato Line, Pato Square, and this is Pato Box. So Pato,
Can't wait for the next one.
Pato finally gets taken, and what happens is you have to go in and you have to save him, and you flash back to this memory of when you guys were kids, and he was like, "If I ever get taken by humans, I need you to take this box, and I need you to use it to save me." And what happens is he opens up this box, and he gets all of these super magical powers that enable him to go and save him, and it's a top-down game, and you've got to go through these different these different places, and you've got to try and save Pato by searching across this open world, of course. Yeah,
Dang. Very close.
my friend Pato.
Well, Pato is actually Spanish for duck.
Pato. Did I mention the elves were ducks?
Duck elves.
Duck elves.
And you actually play as... I don't know if they named him, but it's a human. He's a boxer, but he has a duck's head. Slightly the exact same ridiculous as what you were saying. And it's actually... The art style is really cool. It's like black and white. I'm trying to describe. It was cool.
Like Punch-Out? Or...
No, Punch-Out's not black and
Well,
white.
you were doing this. No one can see it. But
Although the gameplay is pretty much Punch-Out.
Well...
But the visuals are not. So
Okay.
you play as this duck boxer, and you're actually the champion, right?
So you
And-
start off as the champion.
Yeah, you start off as a
Damn,
champion.
well, you can
And you're
only go
fighting-
down from
And
there.
you're fighting this one guy, and you're whooping his and his company, the company he works for and represents, cheats, and they like poison you so that he wins.
And then you die from
And
the poison.
Almost.
And that's the
And then
end
someone
of
who
the
works
game.
at the company finds you out in the gutter and like saves you and is like, "I need you," from the company that cheated him. I was like, "I need you to help me overthrow this company. They're evil. I know what they did to you." And you end up going through, and the company's like a hotel, and you have to go from floor to floor and fight each of the like 8 guys or whatever, and they all have a key to the top. And then you whoop their ass, and then you get to the top and whoop the ass of the head of the company, and you're like, "Guess what? I am still the champion, Duck."
Damn. Still the champ. That was very heartwarming.
Yeah.
It was better than what I said. All right. Here you go. To the moon.
To the Moon is actually not even a game. It's a documentary about Neil Armstrong. In To the Moon, you play as Neil Armstrong's son, but it's in an alternate timeline where Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin made it to the moon, and then all communication was lost.
Oh, damn.
And it's like, well, my dad. And these guys are stuck on the moon, and nobody knows what happens. No one knows if they're alive. And you play as Arnold Armstrong, his son.
I gotta look up the name of his son.
And you're pretty much trying to race against the government to get to the moon, because you know if the government gets him, they'll keep him quiet.
They're trying to cover it
Yeah,
up.
they're trying to cover it up.
Damn.
So you So you got to race against the government to the moon. And then once you get to the moon, there's a huge secret conspiracy that I'm not going to spoil.
What?
But basically just know it involves ducks.
That was such a cop-out. What the hell?
So the government conspiracy, you get to the moon. And you beat the government, actually. So
you have to stick with the ducks. No
Yeah,
backspace.
I know. And you get to the moon, and you find out that he actually had to duck down the whole time that he was in the moon, because there is an atmosphere around the moon that they didn't know about, but it's going so fast that if you don't duck under it, it'll cut your head off.
Oh.
That's what I meant by ducks.
Oh, okay.
And it basically you discovered that the government are moon men.
I would say nice save, but it wasn't. Okay, so to the moon. The real to the moon. By the way, Neil Armstrong's kids are Mark, Karen, and Eric,
And Arnold.
now Arnold.
He was
was
they
the
had to
lost
cover
one.
him up.
He was the lost one. But so To the Moon is actually it's kind of a love story, and what happens is you play as these two scientists, and you have it's in the future, like another dimension or something, where you've invented something has been invented and you operate it, where you as a scientist can go into people's memories.
I actually watched a Let's Play of that game years ago.
And so this old guy's dying, and it's a flashback to him and his wife, and like all the things they did and the struggles they went through in their relationship, like, and how kind of like cold and kind of distant the guy was and stuff. I haven't finished it, and I really want to.
I do remember watching a playthrough of it, and by the end I was like, damn, that's insane.
Yeah, it's a pretty heartwarming story, but I haven't gotten extremely far in it, but I'm definitely planning on going back to it. But the Moonspiracy, man, that was
I started off strong. It sounded interesting at first.
it did at first. But then Arnold went to some weird places. All right, my turn. Flint Hook. Okay.
Or is it pronounced Flint Hook?
It's Flint Hook. So in Flint Hook, you have to. In Flint Hook, you are. Okay, it's a simulation.
Oh.
It's a simulation game. And in Flint Hook, you are a guy that is an expert in using flint to create hooks. And so you sell these hooks on the black market, and because they're made out of humans and flint. There's only a little bit of flint.
Mainly humans.
And so it's mainly humans. And so what happens is, the irony of it is that you use your own hooks to kill humans to make your hooks. It's super cool. And you have made your original hook out of your dead wife.
Oh, I thought you were going to say your firstborn son.
What? Okay, I'd like everyone listening to recognize that I said nothing to go in the direction of the firstborn son. That was all him.
I thought that was where it was going. That would have been sick. Dead wife's okay, though.
So your wife died from unknown causes. And wink. and she's now made into the first hook, and he kills someone with it, and then makes a hook out of that person. And
so are these like human-sized hooks?
They're not human-sized, but they're like, that would be really big.
I know.
But they're like kind of like, you know what a shear is?
Yeah.
Kind of like that.
Okay.
And so what happens is you're going around and you're hooking people, and you have to manage your resources, the amount of human flesh that you have to make these custom hooks for these people on the black market, and you also have to use flint. I'm starting to regret the
flesh.
I would like to, if I were able to go back, I would say that his name was Flint. But no, he uses flint. His name is Carl.
Carlton.
Carlton. His name is Carlton. He goes by Carl.
So when does this game take place?
About unironically around the time Jack the Ripper took place, which was the
1800s or something,
somewhere in that 100-year span.
And what's the end goal?
The end goal is you are trying to become the most well-known guy on the black market
that makes flesh hooks out of flint.
Yes. It's a really easy game. So you're trying to become the most well-known guy in the black market, but as you go, you find that you're getting sabotaged like by other people in the black market who are also trying to make flint hooks.
Here's where I would have gone just now if I were you. You're actually getting sabotaged by your wife who faked her own death, and you actually made a hook out of her sister.
Again, all him. I didn't say anything.
It's better. And that's the actual.
No backspaces. So that's the game. Manage your resources, but there is a very deep and kind of enthralling story within there about kind of the psychology of this guy and learning more about how he ended up going crazy because of his wife's death and making these flint hooks, as opposed to making the flint hooks and not being crazy.
Okay. Well, what it actually is you play as a space pirate.
Same thing.
Who takes on these...
Space like the web space. Pirate as in like a pirate on the web space.
Who takes on these bounty hunting missions. And basically what you have to do is you have to go onto these carrier ships and put together maps to find these like other space pirates who you kill for a bounty.
Okay.
And the guy's goal is just to get money and get rich.
All right. Well,
it's a bit duller.
Just because...
Oh, and he has a grappling hook, how he gets around.
Okay. So where's the flint come in?
It's probably somewhere in there.
Did you finish the game?
No.
Oh. So the flint probably
Flint
comes
is
in
coming
later. That's where he meets his buddy Flint, who makes these hooks out of human remains. And
that's one of the bounties.
And he's like, wait, I've been using that the whole time? And then he kills himself out of guilt. See how deep it gets?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Do we want to transition? We're about halfway through the podcast.
Your call.
You want to transition?
Your call.
Let's do a few more of these, okay? Heavy Rain. Do you know what this one's about already?
Yes, I do.
Okay, then we're going to skip this one. Rains.
That are heavy. Rains is actually a racing game where you play as Santa Claus and his band of merry men. Those are the playable characters. And you actually use reins to like giddy up the reindeer. And it's Mario Kart ripoff, but in the North Pole.
Oh my gosh, I just had a better idea. So like you can play multiple characters and you're Santa and you're flying through and you're whipping the reins on the reindeer and you're avoiding obstacles, but you have to drop gifts onto the houses below and try and target them correctly. But then there are things like planes flying by and there are
people trying to catch you.
Trying
to catch Santa Claus.
The Sky Police. No. Power Rangers.
No.
SPD.
It's 10 years it's 100 years in the future where Santa Claus is considered a terrorist.
Damn, and you have to. Oh my God! Why isn't anyone making these games? Nintendo, make these games.
I'll take my paycheck by mail.
Send it to 111. Who gives a?
All right, what's it actually about?
Okay, so Reigns is actually where it actually is kind of a simulation type game. It's not really a simulation though, but what it is it's kind of a you go in and you start at like year 0, and what happens is you're a king and you are trying to rule over your kingdom, but it's resource management, so you have to sort of
Civilization.
No, not like that. But what happens is you actually don't even see your kingdom at all. It's almost like a card game. Okay. And like what happens is different cards that show up on your screen have different scenarios.
I see.
And so the way they can do that is they like sell DLC with more cards on it and stuff, and I haven't checked those out yet, but I think it's a really cool game.
That sounds interesting.
But the problem is that if you don't buy those extra cards, it just gets super repetitive.
That makes sense.
But
there are only so many.
Yeah, but what you decide to do with each card scenario that you get affects things like how much food you're. I think there are 4 different resources. It's like your population,
food. Wealth.
Was food one of them? Wealth was one of them. Money,
resources.
Yeah. Well, they're all resources.
Well, I know.
There are 2 more. I forget. It's been a while, but something I really like about the game is that eventually you end up trying to balance these. But if one gets too low or one gets too high, even then you'll be overthrown or killed or die or something like that.
Okay.
And then what happens is it'll be like, okay, let's say you made it 18 years in game time, and then it'll give you some like a randomly generated name, like King Arthur, just for example. And from 0 to 18 AD, that was you. And then you play as the next guy,
that's cool.
and you try to make it longer than you did before,
That's cool.
or the first guy, kind of.
Yeah.
So that I really like that kind of. I should buy some of those DLC cards and see what's new, because it is kind of a cool game, but it just got too repetitive.
That makes sense.
All right, here we go. Paper Mario. I don't want to do this one because I already know who Mario is.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
So, Battle Block Theater. This is one you said is one of your favorite games.
I do love this game.
And I still have no idea what it's about, really.
That's why I picked it.
You're like, oh, Battle Block. You know what that reminds me of? Battle Block Theater. And I'm like, how? I don't know what? So, Battle Block Theater oh boy, I just went to a dark place with my thought. Let's not do
Darker
that.
than Flint Hook?
Objectively, probably no, but still dark. And we just did Flint Hook, and I don't want to revisit that stuff. So Battle Block Theater is all about. Okay. No. You know what? I'm just gonna roll with it.
Okay.
All right. I don't like that the title kind of gives away a plot twist at the end, but that in my mind.
Okay.
But it's gonna be good. So you're playing as these. So you're playing as this block. Mm-hmm. No backspaces. Damn it! I really backed myself into a corner here. You're playing as a block. Well, there's a game where you can play as a box. What the box? So
Paddle Box.
Pato Box.
Pato Box Theater.
So Battle Block. So you're this block, and what happens is you're trying to go around and kill all other shapes. You're trying to kill. So you're a box, kind of. You're a cube, and you're trying to kill rectangles. Mm-hmm. You're trying to kill triangles, triangular prisms. You're trying to kill it.
Rectangular prisms, even.
Yeah. Trapezoidal prisms.
Dodecahedron.
That's
the final boss.
Prism. And so what happens is you're going around and you've got a sword. The block's got a sword, and so you're battling all these guys. It's top down, kind of. It's kind of that top down that's not directly. It's kind of like 45-degree angle-ish.
I know what you're talking about.
And so you're traveling along, and you have to save all the other blocks.
Dang.
And so what happens is you're doing it all alongside another block who helps you along the way, and you can play co-op in it. And so what happens is you're going around and you're saving all the blocks, and then at the very end, spoilers, at the very end of Battle Block Theater, it's discovered that, and the cool thing is you can do another playthrough, and like you see all the hints that lead to it. But apparently, this whole time you've just been in a movie, and people have been watching you,
and you don't know that.
And you don't know that until the very end, and you discover it.
Dang.
And then you try to, and then the sequel is all about how you try to get out of the movie, but we're not going into that right now. what happens is all of these different things like there's certain like kind of like things that happen like just on screen with the screen like here and there that kind of hint towards it, and so it's really cool. You should check it out.
Okay.
So that's what Battle Block Theater is.
That actually does sound kind of interesting.
No, it doesn't.
It kind of, but not really.
I think you need to redefine
what Battle Block Theater is it starts with it's the ship, the SS Friend ship. That's actually what it's called, if I recall correctly.
I already love like the wittiness of this game.
It's a very funny game. And there are all these friends on it, and there's one who's the most favorite friend of all, and his name is Hattie Haddington. He doesn't have a hat, by the way. And they're sailing, and everything's happy, and then there's a storm, and they crash onto this island with this giant abandoned theater. And you play as one of the people on the ship, and you go into the theater because you can't find anyone else who was on the ship. And you see these cats abducting Hattie Haddington and putting a magic hat on him. And it like freaks out. And then...
Don't put a hat on me. I'm Hattie Haddington. Don't you know who I am? Don't put a hat on me. What are you, crazy?
And basically these cat human things like capture all the other people, and they become prisoners. And they basically, Hattie Haddington becomes a vegetable almost. He just like sits there with the hat on. And they put him at the top, like in the bird box of the theater, that looks down over everything. And they basically force these prisoners in these like death gauntlets, and it's a platformer in front of all the cats to entertain them. And you uncover throughout going through all these gauntlets as you save the other prisoners that the original owner of the island, I don't even remember his name. It was Furbottom. Furbottom was his last name. And he had all these cats and he loved it, and it was a normal theater. But he went crazy and died.
Of course.
And basically, people stopped coming to the theater except all his cats. And apparently what happened is the hat had his spirit in it, and it was like haunted, and it kept getting passed to new people, and they would also go into the hat and possess them.
That's crazy.
So then at the end, you save Hattie, and you leave the island, and you take the hat off and throw it off in the ocean, and he's never the same again. He's just in a vegetative state forever.
Wow. Wait, the Hattie Haddington?
Yeah.
What? That's fucked up.
I know.
What the hell? That sounded infinitely more interesting. Who develops that?
Behemoth. They made Castle Crashers.
Oh, okay. That sounds cool.
I never really thought about how interesting the plot was.
Yeah.
Because it's not a game that you think of the plot when you think of
it's the platforming.
The platforming.
Yeah.
And the atmosphere. It's very comedic.
All right, let's move on to random words. So again, this will be it'll just put the and then a random word on there. So let's take a look. So for Ethan,
the Justice. The Justice is a game where you play as a judge.
Okay.
But it's in the future.
Okay.
And not super far in the future, like a year, so nothing's different.
Nice save. Nice save. Way to go.
And basically...
Of course, by the... never mind.
Basically, you're this judge, and you're super passionate once you become a judge about justice, about the justice. But you find out that the government has actually pretty much brainwashed everyone with propaganda to think that right is wrong and wrong is right. So you have to find what the true justice is.
I love it. That's actually cool. You're good at this.
I know.
Damn, we should do this again.
Yeah.
You've got some good ideas in there. You want to work for my game company? Man, that's
I'll start
nice.
Monday. So
right.
you have to find out what is the justice and what's not.
Well, so what the justice actually is all right, my turn. The birthday.
The birthday.
The birthday.
The prequel to The Birthday 2. The company published The Birthday 2, and then they're like, I just had a brilliant idea.
Oh my gosh, that's genius. I'm gonna do that. Why hasn't anyone
Sounds like
done
something
that?
Borderlands would do.
It does, though. It does. All right. So, what the birthday is what the birthday is about is you are okay. My mind goes to these a lot. I don't know why. They're kind of fun for me, but
Simulation.
It not really a simulation, not really a resource management, but it's a big like choice game.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking in my mind specifically about kind of oh, nope, I'm changing it. I haven't said anything about it yet. All right, I'm changing it. This is even better. Okay? It's a game almost like The Last of Us, only in the sense that it's a linear story. You don't really make many. Well, no, but in that case, it's more like because you would make choices in it. Okay, more like Heavy Rain-ish.
Okay.
Where you've got like kind of a linear story, but within that you can branch off and get some different endings, but it's still kind of the same
premise.
Story, the whole time. And so, but what happens is, and also it's not like open world or anything. It's very cinematic. And so what happens is, it's kind of a chosen one trope, but you are your parents have died. You're older, 40s maybe, and your parents have died kind of prematurely in their 60s, and you're going through their stuff, and you're really upset about it, and you start finding paperwork, and it's about how it's about like kind of a witness protection program almost.
Ooh.
And so as you start to dig into it, what you find out is that there was this hospital in Wyoming.
Okay.
I don't
Nothing's
know.
in Wyoming.
Exactly. So you're in Wyoming, and there's this hospital that's kind of been sponged from the record books, but you're able to track down records of it, and you're able to find out where it is. And you go, and what this hospital is people will go to this hospital, and they'll give birth, and what'll happen is this hospital, they take these kids and they basically examine them and then decide whether they live or die.
Oh.
And so you're going to as you're kind of discovering this stuff, you're like, oh my god, like how did you're finding out that you were supposed to be one that was like supposed to be dead, like the paperwork had already been filled out and you were supposed to be dead, and it's like, how did you live? And so as you go, you're finding out about your parents and about how and about how you're finding out about how well like all the things they did to keep you from them, and to once they found out about what was happening there, because they didn't know when they first went in. And then you go there, and kind of the final confrontation is you're there, and you have to and you kind of have to fight with or like defeat this this doctor who runs the place,
even though it's shut down.
Well, it's like shut down, but like not really shut down. It's been expunged from the record books, but people still like end up there. I don't know the details yet, but
I haven't gotten that far.
So you go there, and basically it's all about trying to find out exactly what happened to you, how you got out, how you lived, and shutting down this place that's like terrible.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's actually really cool.
I'm really excited about that. Coming in
2020, summer 2020.
Text-based game.
That would be a huge downer. Text-based game.
All right.
I enjoyed that. I enjoyed thinking of that.
Yeah. All right. The Gratitude.
That's a terrible
That
word
is,
for this.
You want to do another one?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. The Interaction.
This is one that I chose. Because I was thinking about it. I was like, No other clues or anything.
The
Just
interaction.
it's so vague.
So the interaction takes place in a post-apocalyptic society.
Wow.
Where the survivors restructured and made this government. But it's almost like a cult, kind of.
Okay.
That runs everything. And there's the head honcho of it all, who's almost like a priest, but they just call him...
Mr. Interaction.
They just call him the one, right?
Whoa.
And
that's mysterious.
And nobody knows what he looks like. Nobody knows anything about him. And he's been there forever, so nobody knows if he's immortal or if it's a bunch of different people who are doing this over time, over generations. And basically, you live your life in this society doing work. And once you reach 20 years old, you have to go interact with this guy, right? You have to go into a room.
The interaction.
And you talk to this guy, and basically, he chooses what's going to happen to you. And you go into a different society. So there's, like, the front, where they send all the, like, children, and they're, like, the people who, like, lead them and stuff, obviously. And then once you reach 20, you go into there, and he decides what's going to happen to you. So the people who are in this community don't actually know what happens. And what ends up happening is they, like, brainwash you, and he pretty much just enslaves you. And he's pretty much just some rich guy who has all these slaves who he's brainwashed. And it turns out that it's not one guy. It's actually, like, family lineage, right?
Okay.
And the original guy is the one who caused the downfall of society.
But everyone's been, like, taking up his position.
Yeah.
Is it... but, like, is there... Oh, but there's, like, no way, because everyone only interacts with him once. Mm-hmm. So there's no way for anyone to be like, oh, that's a different guy.
Yeah.
Because he's not, like, in the papers. It's just you have this interaction with him. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
And he chooses your fate. And he's basically like a tyrant, but nobody knows. Like, he's keeping them down.
So... What's like what kind of game is it though?
It is a not a shooter, not a platformer, not a puzzle game. It would almost be like it's not choice based either, really. It's almost like an adventure game where you, like, go through and you have to uncover this stuff. Because when you go to have your interaction with him, like, you realize what's going to happen. Like, he's going to brainwash you. And you, like, try to escape.
Oh, maybe that's the game. The whole game is you, like, trying to break out of the whole thing and take down the government.
Who's this one guy?
Damn. But, of course, he's got, like, people behind that. So you've got to go
who
through
are
those
brainwashed,
people.
and they all work for him.
Yeah, I like it. I like that. Mm-hmm. What would the gameplay be like? So not a platformer. It's
almost like a survival horror, I feel like.
I imagine something kind of like Enter the Gungeon almost. Where you kind of go from place to place.
Yeah, I could see that.
Shoot up everything.
I don't know if there's action though, because your whole life you're brought up by this guy, so you don't know, like, how to fight or anything. You're brought up by this guy's system.
Is it like a stealth?
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking.
Oh, okay, that's cool. All right, I like that. That's nice. All right, my turn.
The plunger.
I saw this word on there. I took a small peek at the list of words, and I saw this one on there. This is your word.
The plunger.
The plunger. Very nice.
I didn't know what we were doing with the words.
Yeah, you're gonna be sorely disappointed with this one. So in this game, you're the plunger, and you're a plunger, and your butt plunger, as in you plunge into, like, the depths of like
a diver.
So backstory. You live in a world where, like, they discovered kind of a deposit of materials, but as they, like, started to dig it up, they just realized that there were multiple layers to this, and so they kept digging and digging and digging, but eventually it got so deep that now they have what's called the plungers. So they plunge deep into the depths of the earth and try to uncover the secrets of what's behind this thing. And so you're and so it's gotten to a point where people have started to give up on it, and so you're one of the few plungers remaining trying to discover what this is about. And so you have to go down, and you have to kind of you have to fight different creatures that live within the earth, and you have to no backspaces. I was gonna say I shouldn't say the earth, but like the world, because it's not necessarily earth, but now it's earth.
Now it's earth.
Now it's earth, baby. It's the future, and so it's in the future. So you're going down, and eventually what happens is you find yourself in the core of Earth, and you realize like there's kind of like not there's an ancient computer down there.
Ooh.
And it kind of like runs, it kind of like knows everything that's happened in the world. But the thing is that it's also the thing that if like whatever the creators were of this machine, it's like it's been taking out species. And stuff like that. It's like programmed to
cause extinction.
Cause certain events that and stuff throughout across the earth and stuff like that. And you start finding like, oh, this is why this one went extinct and this one went extinct. And so there are some reasons like the dinosaurs are in there and stuff like that. And so in the end, you have to make the decision to keep it for the circle of life or to destroy it.
To protect the
life on Earth.
And there are two endings.
The plunger.
That's actually really sick.
Damn it. I told you.
Yeah.
You wanted me to go some toilet route.
I didn't know. That is interesting. I like that.
I love this game. This is fun.
Right.
We're nearing the end of our time.
For one more.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay. The
runner. No maze. Do you get my joke?
Yes.
Okay.
I get your joke. I think the whole world just got your joke.
Okay, the runner. The runner is... I'm trying to think of how to make it super interesting, because I could just make it some simulation boring thing. So, in the runner, you actually play as someone who delivers goods. And it's like 20 years from now, and you work for whatever they call, like the Amazon. Like you work for an equivalent to Amazon, right? But it obviously has to have a different name because it's a game. And basically in this game, you deliver the goods for them, and you uncover that they're actually like totally corrupt, and you basically just take down this big company that's like ruling from the shadows. It's not as interesting as the other ones, but that's the best I could think of.
All right, not bad. All right, I'll do one more, and then that's gonna be it. The landfill. I feel like that's really similar to kind of what I did with the plunger.
Kind of.
Should I choose another one?
Yeah, go ahead.
The laughter.
Ooh.
Okay. There's a corporation. Greedy corporation, okay?
Of course.
What they want, this is kind of like post-apocalyptic. So like an apocalypse type event has already taken place, but then they dealt with it. And the leading people behind it was this company. But and originally the company's intentions were good, but as the company goes on, it develops it gets different leadership and develops some different morals, yeah. And so they're
as in money.
Yeah, they're interested in money, and the way they make their money is they make it so that people can since it's in the future, there's this way that they've developed where they can take out part of the brain that makes you laugh.
Oh.
And so this part of the brain is taken out. Kind of like when you're really young, not at birth, but when you're really young and you can live the operation because they still want you to work for them and make them money.
Obviously.
They wouldn't want to risk killing you. So they take out the part of your brain and that makes you laugh. And I could be digging myself in all kinds of holes here because I don't. That could be the part of the brain that controls something else too. So, but that's what they get out. Maybe that's part of it. And so you play as a guy working for that corporation,
which everyone in this society works for the corporation, obviously.
Yeah, pretty much. And so you're working for the corporation, except for like some like rebellious groups that have like kind of gone off and hidden. But what happens is, so because the laughter's gone, because the laughter's gone, they're also trying to take out anything that would like cause laughter,
like comedy.
Yeah. And so, but what happens is you end up discovering kind of like you in your attic, there's like an old chest, and in it you discover a diary, and it's from this guy, and you're reading it, and it's actually like pretty funny. Like this guy had some humor and wit to him as he was writing his diary, and as you're reading it, you let out a laugh, and you have no idea what just happened. And so you ask people about it, and they're like, I don't know, and they're like, but you know what? You should go talk to this one old guy. He knows like what happened in the past and stuff like that. Like there's very few people who know. You should go talk to this guy. And so you go talk to him, and he's like, "Oh, that's the laughter." Oh. And so then what happens is you become almost like a double agent for this rebel group that the old guy is like ahead of, like secretly ahead of. And so you become part of this rebel group that tries to take down the company from the inside because you work for the company.
Oh.
And so you make your way to the top, kind of, until you're like kind of part of the leadership, and then you discover more and more about exactly why they do it, what they're doing, more about what happened than even what the old guy knows. And so you gradually learn about it, and then you and the old guy dies, of course. It wouldn't be a story if he didn't. And the old guy very cliche-ly dies, and you now have to lead this rebellion, and the end of the game is you taking over like the headquarters of the company.
Dang.
And screwing everything up.
I thought where you going when you first said like, oh, they removed part of the brain that makes you laugh. I thought you were gonna go, and then they sell you stuff that makes you laugh, like a drug.
Yo, that would
also be interesting.
That would be interesting. However, that's not very, but it's somewhat similar to kind of what We Happy Few did, where like they give you pills for joy.
Yeah, that makes sense. Or like Brave New World, if you've read that.
Yeah, I hate that book, but that's a discussion for a different day. So
for our book club podcast,
we're gonna leave it here. I think we're gonna do another one of these. Probably not next week. Probably not 2 in a row. But I really had fun with that. So I didn't know how that was gonna go. But yeah, we're gonna do this again. Leave comments. Let us know what you like. If this is what you like, let us know. We'll do more of this for sure, because this was a blast. But we'll have some different ideas. Again, we're not doing news here anymore. We're gonna try and do that on the Entertainment Gaming Daily channel. In fact, there's a couple news videos up there already for last week, and you can check those out. So for now, thanks for joining us. We're gonna get going. Anything else for you, Ethan?
I've got nothing, brother.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you next time.